I can safely admit, if I was a casting director, actors would probably hate me.
Interesting.
I heard his voicemail, died laughing. I said, this is the guy. Welcome to the Actor's Guide to the End of the World podcast. I'm Ikan Song, and this is...
Also, Ikan Song. Sorry, Rían Shihi Kalim.
There we go. Follow us wherever you find your podcast at Actors Guide Podcast. Share with a friend, why don't you? We're on all social media at Actors Guide Podcast. Fun clips during the week just to keep you plugged in. So we had an exciting episode with Mel Rodriguez, a lot of inspirational bits that I kind of wanted to follow up on and get into. And also it was an exciting week. I shot something, so I want to share some of that. But before that, a word from our sponsor. Tired of looking up at your romantic lead? Need a stepladder to kiss your romantic co-star? Tired of just being Danny DeVito in Twins and not Arnold Schwarzenegger in Twins?
Give yourself a boost with Hollywood Heels insoles. You're going to go from Tom Cruise to Terry Crews, now in Crocs.
Let's talk a little bit about Mel last week.
Yeah.
I just felt like there's a sense of calmness over Mel, and it was great to catch up. The fitness transformation, losing 170 pounds, I mean, that's the icing on the cake. But also the story of, him literally leaving Hollywood, driving off with his wife, and then getting the call that he booked a huge series regular show and then had to come back. I mean, these are great stories that I didn't really know, and I've known him for years.
Yeah.
So that right off the bat was great to hear.
Well, you can tell by him. I mean, the calm thing is interesting because there is a sort of a serenity to him that I really appreciated. And I think it's the measure of somebody who just is comfortable with who he is and knows who he is. And I loved his take on his approach to acting. He strikes me as he's a professional. You know what I mean? He is you can feel the confidence off him in what he does, and it's not, it's not trumpeted, it's not overblown, it's not hyped. It's just you can tell he's good at what he does. And the people who surround him are a testament to that. I mean, he works with really good, he's a lot of people that like working with him, clearly, big names and very funny people, Zach Woods, Bob Odenkirk, all of these people that
Will Forte.
Yeah, that he's pals with. That's a testament to somebody who's just good at what they do. And I love those stories. I love those stories especially the stories of people on the verge of quitting or making the decision to quit. You hear that time and time again. That seems to be a common thread. Not that you should, I think, quit to try and force an outcome, but it comes from a very genuine place of just letting go, I think. Aaron Paul has a great story about that. Breaking Bad, I think, was one of his last. He decided if this is it for me, I'm out.
He said that? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he talks about that. John Krasinski has a story about that as well, and almost...
Really?
On the way out. Yeah.
Wow.
There's a lot of all right, you know what? This might be it for me. Have you ever gotten to a point like that where you're like, you know what? This is it.
The funny thing is I almost wish that I did. I think what I'm, and it actually might come up later when I talk about the thing that I shot. I'm in a weird middle ground where I'm still figuring out what I really, really, really want to do, because as we get older and as time goes on, time is more precious, and I think that's our most valuable commodity, right? I'm still busy focusing on where to put my best efforts, and I'm not sure if acting was ever number one.
Yeah.
And so if I'm swimming around in the middle ground, I'm waffling. And so when you hear these stories what
do you mean by the middle
Aaron
ground?
Paul, middle ground, half foot in, half foot out.
Oh, okay. I see.
I don't know if I ever jumped in 100% to, I need to act and this is my calling and I want to be an actor and essentially hit it big.
Yeah.
I feel like if we talk to most actors like John Krasinski, Aaron Paul, it's the fact that I put so much into acting and I don't know, this might be it. And I have to find a plan B. I never jumped in fully and committed.
Right.
And I don't know whether it was my upbringing or whatnot. Anyway, I'm kind of jealous of people, and I know that you probably fall into that boat too, that a very singular focus. I never felt that. And that being said, I kind of wish I had.
I understand that. I think, just funny, I was texting with a friend there the other day and made a list of the creative things I like to do in order of enjoyment. And I think it's probably acting, number 1, singing, number 2, playing an instrument, number 3, drawing, number 4, and writing, 5. But I think it's just in order of what I spend my time writing. I think I would really enjoy writing if I did more of it and just applied myself to it in a much more disciplined kind of way. You have a lot of varied interests, which I think is a really healthy way to live your life. And that's almost an enviable position as well, because you get to choose, is it this, is it this? I've maybe gone down a narrower path in some ways, so I'm trying to expand it out, ironically, to include other things.
100%. And I totally feel that. And my varied interests might have been trying to cultivate a life that I want to live. And that's great. But there's part of me that thinks that, was I not ambitious enough as an actor? And so this is constantly going through my head.
Right.
Because I love, having too many options, having too many things sounds like a great idea. And I realize, and now after this week that I had shooting my own thing, I might be ready to get out and jump into this other thing. But I'll get into that later. Another way to put it is, what all of these actors wanted and are striving for, and what many actors are striving for, I didn't want badly enough. And I'm trying to figure out what I do want.
That's an interesting one. Am I not ambitious enough? I think only if being happy with where you are means that you don't try anything. You know what I mean? I think that's where maybe a lack of ambition might be damaging, but I don't think so. It's not like you're sitting on your hands doing nothing. You know what I mean? It's
yeah, exactly.
You're making things.
That's a good point.
So I think that lack of ambition, because ambition can be a very positive thing or something that makes people very unhappy, because if they have an idea about where they want to go and they're frustrated all the time that they're not there because it's a destination, I think that's quite damaging, or can be quite destructive. I think if ambition is a general path of, I'd love to do this and I'm going to work all the little steps to kind of work towards that. But if you're just unhappy that you don't have whatever it is, whatever that ambition is, I think it's a bit, you might miss a lot along the way. So I try and pull myself back to that a lot and go, all right, let's just enjoy what I get to do today, which is hard.
I think that's a good, on that note, another thing that we were talking about with Mel, he's busy writing, he's busy working on projects, he has dreams of directing, and he has stories to tell. And as if his acting career wasn't enough, but he has more things that he wants to do. And he says, I think that there's a wave of independent filmmaking that's coming.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it, but also he's been seeing it. People are getting out there and doing stuff.
Yeah.
And he mentioned that, and I've been seeing it too. So I definitely want to talk a little bit about that today. You've been seeing it too, right?
Born out of necessity, I think. Yeah, born out of necessity, I think. And by necessity, I mean, professional necessity, I think. But also out of a sort of creative need, because when there is less opportunity, waiting is like the worst. I was thinking about this a lot this week, because I always think that waiting is a really powerless place to be and a really frustrating place to be. And I found myself waiting this week as the result of, going for something, having a call back and just kind of waiting. And I really, more so than other weeks, I really struggled with it this week a lot, because I was sort of waiting to hear back on this thing. And as you know, like sometimes you just don't hear back, or mostly you don't hear back. And I've trying to be like, I was trying to break it down in my head and go, what is this feeling, and why am I so invested in this particular thing? What does it represent? and some of it's validation, and some of it's, validation for in other people's eyes, or for myself, or to feel like I have worth. This is a thing that I kind of grapple with every so often, where I find myself pouring a bit of my self-worth into professional success, and that's a constant readjustment, I think. And I think what you're talking about, this resurgence of like, or sort of new wave of people creating their own material, because one, they have the means to, and two, they really kind of have to keep, it's like a shark has to keep swimming to stay alive.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that kind of idea of like, you have to keep creating something, or like, it's very easy to stagnate, I think, in this industry. And I think with stagnation comes a sort of hopelessness or a resentment. And I think that is the clearest path forward, as far as I can see, from evidence around me and from some experience in my own life. So
before we move on from Mel, I would never say this in front of a guest, but I've always been looking at this as, the podcast and also what we're doing, almost like a live journal of documenting our lives. This is what's happening in our lives. Mm-hmm. If we get a guest on, and I would love for them to have a great time, but also it's a way for them to document these stories too. Now, if they do a lot of podcasts, obviously they have a lot of documentation, but there are some guests that, I thought it was so great to have Mel tell us these stories, because I thought that this is a way that we can look back on these times and have it there on the internet, and we can always have it there to kind of remember or just look back on fondly. You know what I mean? I heard this probably for a few years because podcasting got so huge. People say that podcasting is the new blog.
Yeah.
I like to think that that's what we do. And in a way that this is a way that we can document it. And, if a guest has a good time when they come on, then so be it. I really appreciate that. And hope that they can share it with friends and family. On this note of the independent filmmaking, a listener of the podcast reached out to us. Rory Ross, a longtime listener of the podcast, reached out to us. He created a fan film, a full-on Star Wars fan film. His wife has a production company. I believe it's Vision Ray Entertainment. And so they reached out to us and said, hey, we're doing a premiere of our Star Wars fan film, and we would love for you guys to stop by. Crazy enough, so I went out to see it. Credit to them. I thought it was great. Really impressive. They had over 70 people working on this film.
Wow.
Went out into the desert. So first off, I just want to make this clear. If anyone sends us free shit, we'll take it. We absolutely will take it. So I just want to make that clear. Love the free shit. They're releasing it officially this weekend. It was called Path of the Lost. Credit to them. Great job.
Brilliant. That's very inspiring. Imagine the buzz of that, though. You know what I mean? Like creating something that then a lot of people get together to do. Because I've often thought this, and I think I've said it on the podcast a few times, but like every job you do, you meet a load of new people, and that's kind of my favorite thing about this. Honestly, is like the relationships you form, and keeping those relationships going long after the project is finished is fantastic. Like it puts you in touch with so many creative people and so many fun experiences that like that's really, for me, the real joy of this job. Like whatever anything turns out like, and obviously these people have like a project that they're proud of and that they're promoting now, but like the experience of doing that is brilliant. My friends still talk about stuff that they made years ago and all the ridiculous stories that came out of that, like friends of mine who will probably be on the podcast went out to the desert a few years ago and made this short film, and people got dehydrated, people went to hospitals. There was like all kinds of ridiculous shenanigans for dehydration. So just when you said desert there, I was like, be careful. But they still talk about it. I mean, there's still like, everybody was fine, you know what I mean? But like there's still all of these stories from this stuff. Obviously you've started that recently. I mean, how's you're working on a project that's all your own, and
that's a really great segue. When it gets released, people will know. Just the concept and all that stuff. It's still kind of new, so I don't want to say anything. I was busy shooting a series. We got started shooting on this thing that I partnered up with a filmmaker. It was 3 days over last weekend. It was really intense. It was the first narrative and the biggest thing that I've shot in years. And I don't know if I was actually prepared for it. But one of the biggest things that I took away from it is literally what you just said, is the fact that me and my co-creator, we think it's a great idea. We're really excited about it. It's our quote unquote project that we're going to put into the world. And then it dawned on me, all these people want to come in and be a part of it. There's so many people who are, whether they're actors, editors, people donating props, like one thing after another, people were jumping in 100%. And it dawned on me that, hey, this is a collaboration. Everyone wants to just work together. It's not like, oh, this is a result that we're trying to achieve. Let's finish the show. It's, oh my God, we all get together and have a blast. I'm talking to actors who I, have worked with and old friends. I'm like, hey, I'm checking in to see if they're still in LA. That's how long time is. It's like, I'm picking out certain actors, like this would be perfect, blah, 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 and all that. And I'm like, not even done the pitch of the show. And they're like, I'm in. I'm like, what, just so you know, it's not like it's low budget. It's not paid. They're like, no, I'm in. It's like, we want to do more. And I'm like, like it was also almost, I don't want to say embarrassing. I was like, I was almost taken aback by how much people trusted the project and me. We are in LA and there is so much talent who is, for lack of a better word, waiting. So much talent of, I want to work on something. I don't know what yet. And so this is really the time to make something. So this is literally the gold mine. I was sleeping on how much of an asset that is. And so just to talk a little bit about the stakes, because this is also when you start pre-production, you're like, oh, this will be here. And then you'll shoot over here in this location. When you actually start to like get locations and you realize that you have to start paying money. This is the newest stakes. This is the newest stakes that I've never reached, where I'm like, oh, okay. It's still low budget, but I've never had this much skin in the game where, okay, so you're paying for these locations. This is real. I'm paying for these locations. This shoot needs to happen on this day.
Had you anticipated this or budgeted for this, or is this like?
We knew that, and me and my co-creator, and she actually might eventually come on. I've been waiting to have her on in a long time. She's been one of our number one early fans of the podcast, and I've known her for years. And she's very brilliant and interesting, and we partner up very well together. Mm-hmm. We're very used to run and gun, be efficient. That being said, I'm usually, hey, let's shoot in this guy's apartment. Let's steal this. Like I've stolen locations at a bank off hours. Do you know what I mean? So this is a new step from just stealing locations to I actually need a morgue. I actually need a police station. So when it gets to that level, I guess that's a small little tease right there. But when you actually deal with real locations, there's only so many places you can go. And there are low budget, affordable-ish locations in LA if you really make it work. So that actually brings a great point. We're doing a tour of this location. They do tours for any prospective people renting. A store tour of all the stages. Sure enough, a lot of people were touring it that same night. We're all looking at each other. We're like, oh, what are you shooting? You're shooting something? And all these people who worked on huge things, huge talents, like feature films, they're getting greenlit, series. Some people worked on verticals. More than capable industry professionals worked for years. They're like, yeah, I worked on a couple verticals. And so you hear this, we're all in the same middle ground of you got to keep shooting. There's a lot of people who still want to shoot. We're still here. And we're going to keep shooting, and we're still in California, and there's tons of talent, and we're going to keep making things. So this was all happening while we're having the conversation with Mel, while we've been having conversations with other people, as far as there's this independent push that is happening, whether you're going to see it with Warner Brothers and Paramount or not. there are a lot of people who are making things happening.
Yeah.
Making things happen. So there's that. One thing I wanted to get into, about the stakes. Talk about a jolt. Hey, we're all self-taping in our apartments. We're all shooting on digital. Possibly we'll do 100 takes of our self-tape. That's 3 lines, right? And
I just had this experience.
Oh my God, I bet. And then whether it's like a Zoom acting class, and then the stakes of you're on a set, you're paying money, and you have a bunch of actors waiting around, and acting with real actors, and all of it's in your head. Oh, by the way, this thing I co-created, co-directing, and then also I'm the lead actor. Okay, and co-wrote.
Okay,
and so all these hats, and we're like, okay, we're used to run and gun, and I was like, okay, well, I got to manage these hats, and obviously also take care of myself as an actor. You go from Zoom class and self-tapes to being shot out on set and be like, okay, let's make sure that we actually do what we need to do and get everything that we need in the can. The stakes of that, I handled well. I handled pretty well, I would say. And I love everything we shot. That being said, thank God I had a co-creator, co-director. And so just the stakes, I'm buzzing, absolutely buzzing. Still, it took me days to recover. It dawned on me as an actor and then also behind the camera, it was distinctly 2 types of people on set. There's the people on set that have too many things to do, and then the people on set who don't have enough. And usually it's the actors who don't have enough to do, meaning that we're trying to be efficient with everyone's time, but we have actors waiting. We have actors waiting for their setup. We have actors who have to wait for a couple scenes, and then they have to, and that's part of the game.
Which is normal. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's completely normal. But what dawned on me, and this kind of goes back to our previous conversation as far as what do we really want to do and what we dream of doing, I realized I was in my happy place being on set with too many things to do.
Yeah.
Like, I think I had like almost like a revelation where this is actually what I want to do and keep doing versus quote unquote, just my role as an actor.
Yeah.
Obviously I would love to be brought on set and a film, TV. I have no problem waiting and just, get a paycheck and then do the job, and all that stuff's great. But I realized how happy I was having all these hats, and it's been so many years that I was literally running around. I'm talking with friends who I'm catching up with, and they're like, oh, how you been? What's life like? And I'm looking at them and I'm like, can they tell I'm going insane? I want them to feel good, ready for their scene, but also I have 20 things that I need to take care of and running around in my head that I'm hoping I don't forget.
Sure.
And also I will say, as heartbreaking as it was, because I had, and this is on us, there were some actors that were waiting around for a while. We had some technical issues. There were some, like a lot of technical issues. Okay. And I had actors waiting around. And as much as it killed me to have my friends and talented actors who I was lucky to even have on set waiting around, I will gladly take the responsibility of having too many things to do on set.
Yeah, I get that.
So this was kind of like the biggest takeaway where I was like, wow, I love doing this. And we have more to shoot, but this was the first big stage.
Well, it's great to have that experience. And I think like have you ever visited a set when you're not working that day? There is no more useless feeling than being on a set when you don't have a task, because I've done it on projects. I've shown up to set, like, just to kind of shadow people or learn from people. But even that, you're kind of in the way if you don't have a purpose for being there. It's a weird feeling.
Especially if it's a small set. If it's a small set, you're literally in the way.
Yeah, and even if you're part of the project, like, I've been part of projects where like I've been on it for the whole time, but like I'll show up on set on days that I'm off just because I want to I love being there, and I like to watch people do their jobs. Even with that, even when you're part of it, if you're not part of it that day, you're wasted. You're a waste of space. You're kind of in the way. So I understand the feeling of having of enjoying having too much to do. I think I would enjoy that too, because there is a sort of a singular focus as an actor, and you're treated very well. There is a lot of waiting. I think early on, particularly, I responded to it by like worrying about other people's jobs as well, which is not my job. The best thing you can do for the production is do your job to the best of your ability and let other people do their jobs. Like, don't worry about.
That's a great point.
Don't get involved in continuity. Well, that was actually there. Like, that's someone's job. Leave them to that, you know. But like you said, there is a lot of waiting. And again, as we talked about, waiting is a tough place to be. Exactly. So I think that the challenge as an actor is to have something to do, you know, in those times, and whether it's, you know, working on script or like, you have something to kind of occupy you. But I do love the idea of being like really busy on a set and being involved in it from the core. I'm always amazed at how hard crew work. I mean, the long hours, the time they show up before actors, they're gone after actors, you know what I mean? They're just there the whole time, and they work so hard. That is always so impressive to me. And sometimes I look at them and go, why would you do that job? Like, you do so much work. But I love that you had that experience, and like that takes a lot of the power back, because there is a lot of, you know, there is powerlessness in sort of just waiting around. Like for example, every day this week, I've sort of like called my agent like 3 or 4 times a day going, anything from Econ's people yet? And they're like, nothing yet, but we'll keep you posted. So, you know, I'm just waiting, you know what I mean? I'm just waiting. So I think that's the real benefit of creating stuff is when you get to be involved in a creative process, you get to meet a whole team of people, you get to just be in stuff. And I think that leads to more. And, you know, when they say work begets work, I was thinking about this the other day. It's not just people see your work and they give you work. It's the fact that you are moving. You know what I mean? You are creating. Everything is less precious because there's just more to do. And I've been quite busy over the last 3-4 weeks, and I've realized that that's a pretty good place for me to be, because I'm better in those. Not where it's overwhelming, where I feel like, and there's times when I'm like, how the fuck am I going to get through all this? But that's a better place for me to be than to have wide open, unstructured time, because I start to think too much and I start to get a little bit introspective and a little bit hopeless at times. But that's great. It's great to hear about that process and to hear about you having those experiences and creating something from the ground up. Like, what a cool thing to do.
Yeah, it was great because, first of all, deadlines are great. For whatever reason, we couldn't wait around. You can't sit around and perfect, whether it's the script or pre-production. There was time restrictions that we kind of needed to kind of move on it, which was great. And I will say, as far as the actual skills, this is the stuff that we've been working on Leslie Kahn, but also we coach each other, we rehearse. This was one of those things where you kind of needed to be flexible. I needed to be flexible. And I was like, thank God I had a director, but also it's like, I needed to protect myself, be like, this is the high stakes situation. You have a couple takes and we only have so much time. So these are all skills that I was accumulating. And a lot of it came because of working at Leslie Kahn for all these years. And here that I feel like this is a new beginning where I might be producing and directing more. Anyway, I wanted to throw out one thing about casting. Now, I'm only...
because you cast this, right?
Well, we kind of just, through people that we know, we kind of brought actors in, and it was one of a million things that we needed to obviously take care of in pre-production, right?
Sure.
But it's low budget, it's very tight, we want to be super efficient. And me being thrown into this position, and there was a couple funny stories. And I can only say here, because if I said it anywhere else, people would probably think I'm an asshole. There's a lot of things that we talked about casting directors, about the first 4 seconds, about, when we were talking about the stunt casting, and we were talking about, hey, I need official actors, I need credibility, I need credentials, I need to know that they're real actors versus this is someone that just fits the role, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, this is a very small production. This is run and gun, and not a lot of time, but also the needs and the deadlines. This is how the job goes. I can safely admit, if I was a casting director, actors would probably hate me.
Interesting.
I will say that.
Why is that?
I was very particular about the type, the role, what their role is, because everything is very efficient. It's a very tight series.
Yeah.
I was very particular about look, about the fit. I did not audition people. I hit people up. Here's the show. Here's the situation. And do you want to be a part of it?
Okay.
I was looking for someone that fit this role. It was a working class. It was, I just wanted a particular physical type. Last minute, I was searching around for actors. I had one friend, couldn't do it, doctor's appointment. It was a perfect example of, hey, sometimes it's just dumb luck. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I had a friend who had an actor friend. I asked him, hey, any of your acting class that fits this type, let me know. You know, it's a shot in the dark. Mm-hmm. He goes, I'm still waiting on this one friend. He's freaking hilarious. Like, trust me, it's like he could fit it. Doesn't get back to him. And I'm like, can you reach out to your friend? I'm like begging people. Everyone wants to work. At the very least, send me a picture. He sends me a picture. I go, I want to talk to him. Such a unique look. Oh, by the way, not online. Nowhere they could be found. No acting materials. Is there any footage of him? Anything where he's talking? His Instagram is private. This is a conversation that I'm having when I have 100 other things to do. He also said, well, it's funny because he looks like this type, but he's really like this type in real life. So I was worried because I didn't know his voice. I didn't know who he was. I was like, do you have any footage on this guy? Like anything. Any video of him talking online anywhere.
Why is he so invisible as an actor, though?
Exactly. That's my point. This is the average. The average of people online, they don't have their picture in IMDb Pro. They don't have, their Instagram is private, and they post once every 7 years.
Is that the secret? Is that what we're missing? Should we just be more private, more elusive?
No, I think it's the exact opposite. I think this is why every casting director is like, I don't understand these actors. So my friend, he sends me a voicemail that this guy left him when he was cat sitting for him. I heard his voicemail, died laughing. I said, this is the guy. I need to talk to him. I didn't need to know how many years he was studying. I didn't need to know what conservatory he went to. I brought him in. He was exactly what I needed. And to be honest, I'm obsessed with this actor.
Really?
This was a needle in a haystack. There is no 4 seconds. There is no audition. I'm not even watching a tape. I'm looking at a photo and I heard a voice memo and I'm like, that's the guy. What I realize is, and I understand why it's so frustrating for us actors, it's because instinct and fit matters so much despite credentials and experience and those factors. And there's only one actor who gets the role. There was a lot of actors who were brought in through my friend who I did not know. And I was going on blind trust. And thank God I trusted her and she was great.
I would imagine, though, that because that's a kind of a unique project, I imagine if you did something else that was like, you know, on a bigger scale or involved, it would not be that process. You know what I mean? I imagine you would have to adapt as you scale, you know, that you would have to audition people if you're doing a different type of project. But this is a very specific type of, this is, you know,
this is a good question. If I had a Netflix show, you're completely right. It's not my job to hire 250 actors because I don't have time.
Yeah.
I probably would hire 250 actors and I probably wouldn't audition them.
Okay.
Like, do you know what I'm saying? So my point is, and I'm joking around. Like, obviously there's some people that you would have to audition because it's like, you don't know those actors and you have to put out a wide net. My point is if I'm casting 10 people, and this probably sheds a light on why Judd Apatow does what he does. He hires Seth Rogen because he knows that he's at home doing nothing. He hires all his friends because he knows what they're doing. He knows that they're doing nothing. Which
is great. I mean, that's the joy of this. That's the joy of this industry. A lot of the times you get to work with your friends, especially if you're creating your own projects. That's the privilege of creating your own projects. You get to do that.
To talk about this whole credentials versus competency. I just listened to a James Clear interview James Clear is the guy who wrote Atomic Habits. Dawned on me when we talk about Nepo babies, when we talk about stunt casting, and we talk about Kevin O'Leary and Marty Supreme, that's the question is how much do we value credentials versus competency? Can you do the role, or do you actually have the credentials of being an actor? That conversation is more complex than I think it is.
Yeah.
James Clear, just a little side note, I know we're all over the place. James Clear wrote this incredible book about habits. His background is not in psychology or neuroscience.
Yeah.
He's in biomechanics and he had a business degree. He literally had no credentials talking about habits. He was literally just interested in it and started a blog. And he was like, let me just put these ideas out to see if they're any good. And I needed the stakes to see if my ideas on building habits were any good.
Yeah.
And so he's the forefather of building habits and he has no credentials. And he had to make peace with that. And to be honest, I think us as actors who are not famous and not Tom Cruise, I think we're all in the quote unquote competent category and not credentials. I think credentials is Tom Cruise. And I think every casting director is looking for actors like you and I and many other actors that they probably don't know and aren't household names and be like, hey, if we could just see this guy, can they do the job? And we would give him a shot. But on Netflix, on Apple TV, on CBS, they're only going on Tom Cruise down. And this is my big revelation where this is my happy place because on the internet, you can find people who just do the job. And on the internet, I don't have people giving us notes and also making suggestions or demands. So that's my big takeaway. And that was a small little snippet of this is our life as an actor. Because there's many people who are competent that are out there, absolutely will not be discovered with the handful of agents, the world of self-tapes, and the shrinking production.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's my big.
Unprivate your Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. Step number one, unprivate your Instagram.
Put a photo up on your IMDb Pro. At least. It's
like we kind of already knew this. I kind of need to be in the experience to be like, this is exactly what I was saying and complaining about, and this actually happens.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people hidden online.
Yeah.
That are still, working and active actors. And that's kind of like, these are all my lessons learned.
Good lessons.
A very active week. There we go.
Good to get a little inside look at the process of making something. Look forward to hearing more about that and hearing more updates.
Yeah, I wanted to say it while it's fresh and on my mind, but a very interesting week. So let's do hidden gems.
Do you know what? I'm in the enviable position I have 3 potential hidden gems in my head. And one of them came to me as you were talking. Maybe I'll just do one and I'll parse them out. I'll just save them week by week. So
I would say save them.
You were talking about the restrictions, the sort of being forced to, when you're making this thing, you're sort of limited by locations and stuff like that. I saw a post from a friend this morning about limitations, particularly that. And it just reminded me. So this is my hidden gem for this week. So Peachy Parrot is a company that was started by a friend of mine, Sarah Evans, brilliant actor, really funny. During a number of years ago, started a company called Peachy Parrot, and it's like these really colorful homewares and interiors, rugs, bath mats, like all of this really cool stuff for your home. The color schemes I love. But she started it kind of on her own and designs all this stuff. But she posted this morning about the limitations. And she was posting about, I'll just read you out the caption. It says, came across these behind the scenes shots from 2020. Under a year into the business. So she started it, 2019, 2020. Pregnant with baby number 3 in lockdown with products that needed photographing. So she bought a secondhand bath and put it in her living room. And this became the sort of focus for all these creative shots. And her business is thriving. And you can buy it online. Sarah's based in the UK, but you can order it online, and there's a ton of cool stuff. So Peachy Parrot is my hidden gem for this week. Really fun, cool. I love the color, like bright, really colorful stuff. So I will be purchasing some stuff from that this week, I think.
That's awesome. There you go. Peachy Parrot.
At Peachy_Parrot. This is for those watching, this is the kind of color, really colorful, kind of cool stuff.
That's great. Love it. Awesome. There you go. And for my hidden gem, I was teasing it earlier, but Rory Ross, their Star Wars fan film, you're going to be able to see it. They're doing the big premiere. By the time that this releases, it'll release the Saturday before this. So this weekend, we're going to put the link in the description. You're going to be able to see their fan film. Great visual effects. A lot of heart. This guy, yeah, go ahead.
When you say fan film, you mean it's like made in the same sort of universe as Star Wars, or how
exactly?
Do they, okay,
you're making a Star Wars film in that world, but want to give a little love to Rory Ross and his team, but they did a great job. So yeah, there you go, hidden gem.
Great hidden
That's
gem.
It. Indie filmmaking, everyone. People are doing it. People are doing the thing. So there you go.
Fantastic.
Hope you have a great week. Enjoy the episode, and we'll see you next time.
All right. See you next time.